Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of Garage Guyz Sportz. And this, of course, is our Bulldog Pregame show, Fresno State RedWave Pregame show. Coming to you for a second episode before kind of an early week. We take on Colorado State on Thursday. We have Fresno State alum Ben Burnside with us today.
Woo!
Fellow garage guy.
Yeah.
Before we take on the Colorado State Rams. First, let's take a trip around the Mountain West since this was our first week of football. We had arch rival Boise State score 42 against Utah State, who scored 13. They won that game pretty handily.
Team to beat.
We had Nevada and Wyoming go to overtime. Nevada escapes by a score of 37-34. San Diego State upends UNLV by a score of 34-6. And San Jose State beats Air Force by a score of 17-6 in a defensive battle.
Embarrassing.
New Mexico and Colorado State was canceled. And then San Jose State and New Mexico were set to score off in New Mexico this week. That game was moved to San Jose due to COVID-19 concerns. Now we get into the Mountain West game we all care about, and that is the Fresno State game last week where we fell to Hawaii by a score of 34-19. What were your impressions of that loss, Ben?
My impression was, the ball, from what I learned in my school days, is you're supposed to have them in your hands. Like
You're supposed to hold on to the ball.
Yeah, you're supposed to hold on to the ball and not lose it. And they didn't. No,
They didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. For Jake Haener, the new starting quarterback, the transfer from Washington who sat out last season because of transfer rules, definitely a rough first game, especially donning that number 9, as we all know, is retired for the great Kevin Sweeney. 4 turnovers isn't going to get it done.
No.
3 interceptions, 1 fumble lost. The one thing I will give him is I didn't think he was going to look as good running the football. He looked good scrambling around. Ben kept comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't put it that far, but he scrambles around pretty good. He's a pretty shifty guy. I think they could run more of the option or do something like that, especially with backs like Ronnie Rivers. Ronnie Rivers, averaged 4.1 yards on the ground, and they just kind of stopped running the football with him as much. And I get it because they were down big. They had to score quick. They had to throw it. But, they were getting big chunks on the ground with Ronnie Rivers. And then it seemed like when they could throw it, then they started running it. And they were getting big chunks from their wide receivers. The new freshman, Josh Kelly, why'd you stop throwing to him? The freshman from San Joaquin Memorial, he had 1 catch for 26 yards. He had another catch for 17, but it was taken away due to penalty. And then you had Chris Coleman, 1 catch for 51 yards. Eric Brooks, 3 catches, a 15.3-yard average on all 3 of those catches. And then Jalen Cropper, who I feel like they didn't incorporate as much as they should have, 2 catches for 21 yards. All of those guys had double-digit catch averages. And it just seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like they weren't gelled. And I get it because of COVID and all this stuff. You didn't really know who you were as a team and a new head coach.
New quarterback. But it just seemed like they had stuff working and they just kind of deviated away.
It seemed like they were kind of stubborn. And Kalen DeBoer, no matter what was going to do, what he was going to do. And I don't know.
Man.
It's just all around, and I don't want to put it all in the offense and all in the quarterback or anything like that, but it just did not look good. 5 of 12 for third down conversions, below 50% is never a good thing, especially when you have Hawaii going 11 for 17 on third down conversions.
Jeez.
And then 0 for 1 on a fourth down conversion attempt. They had 3 interceptions and allowed 323 yards on the ground. So we talk about the offense, but the defense just did not show up at all. 323 yards on the ground, 6.1 yards per carry for Hawaii. Their quarterback, their quarterback, Cordero, ran the ball 13 times for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is definitely something this defense needs to work on. And then they had 1 turnover to our 4. We lost the turnover battle. In time of possession, they held the ball for 33 minutes. We held the ball for 27. When they're holding the ball longer than us and we're turning the football over, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, Cordero's from the Valley, though, so I almost smiled every time he ran, but then I remembered to not smile.
You remember to not smile because he's the Hawaii quarterback.
He's the Hawaii quarterback.
But if we did have 1 star to take away from this game, it was the redshirt senior Kwame Jones, the defensive end, number 33. 3 sacks in the first half. You really didn't see him a lot after that, and that is because they were running the football. They didn't really need to pass it. They had a lead, and they stuck with it. But when this guy had to get after the quarterback early, he did it. Yeah. Hats off to this kid. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to be a draft pick.
Was that a record?
3 sacks and a half? I don't know. I got to look into that a little bit.
That's what we call a sack.
But it looked good. It looked good early on. And then Fuller, our punter, he had 2 punts for 63 yards, a net average of 31.5. That's not going to get it done in special teams either. I don't know. A lot of problems with this game. I'm hoping they clean it up. It doesn't look good in a short week, especially to a Colorado State team they lost to last season, but we will see. And, this would be a great game to go to Thursday before Halloween, but of course there aren't any fans, and I get it. There's a pandemic. I'm not complaining. It was just, it sucks in retrospect. And our own Ben here actually used to work the tunnel for Fresno State. Oh, yeah. So tell us, Ben, what are you missing most about these Fresno State games?
Oh, man, I'm missing the pregame hype train of them going through the tunnel and just being pumped up to go. You could feel it when you go down. I got to tell you something. I don't miss the band when they go down the tunnel because they seem to play a lot in the tunnel, and it's a little loud. There's no headphones. I'm pretty sure I had a bonk in the head once. I was like, hey, you stop that. They kept marching. But, you saw the Fresno State dog, Victory Bulldog. He couldn't even walk. He was in a wagon. He's obese. But,
Obese Bulldog.
Obese Bulldog. That's fine, But besides
he's eating
that,
too many W's.
Eating too many W's.
He's Victor E. Bulldog.
Oh, man. Too many wiener hot dogs. W's. And
W for wiener hot dogs.
Wiener hot dogs.
Okay.
Ask me about my wiener.
But it was a beautiful time playing being not playing, but being in the tunnel and spectating with the playing in the tunnels. So,
what are you going to look for most in this next game, Ben?
Oh, man. Hopefully the W. I mean, there's nothing interesting about Colorado State, so I just hope we go in there and get the win, for gosh sakes.
That I do agree with. They're also coming off a disappointing season last year. Colorado State, like I said before, record of 4-8 last year, 3-5 in Mountain West Conference play. But unfortunately, one of those wins did come at the expense of Fresno State last year. Their quarterback looks like an NFL guy. He struggles a little bit at times, but he has a good arm. Patrick O'Brien, the redshirt senior from San Juan Capistrano, he stands at 6'5", 235 pounds.
That's
tough guy to bring down.
Boy.
The only plus is they gave up a lot of quarterback runs last week. This guy is not a runner.
Yeah.
I think he's got like 61 yards in his career, so he's not a runner, but he's got a pretty good arm. He can take some shots downfield. So these DBs are gonna have to show up early and often if they expect to get this game. But like I said, it's all up to Kwame Jones. This guy doesn't really get outside the pocket, and David Perales, if he's healthy and he's on the other side, they both looked pretty good with each other on the line last week. So if they can rush the quarterback well, get this guy on the ground a couple times, get him shaky, I mean, I think even though he didn't have that great of a year last year, he's still the key to this offense. He's who they rely on.
Oh, yeah.
So if we can get him on the ground and get our offense on the field and not turn the football over, I think we'll be solid. But like I said, it's all up to Jay Kaner and Caleb DeBoer about how he's going to use Jay Kaner. He's seen him in action now. He's seen him use his legs. I'd get him on the run. Get him doing things to use his athleticism. He showed last week, if you have to just rely on his arm, I don't know how reliable that is. I'm not knocking the kid. I think he's a good quarterback. I just think with a shortened offseason and things like this, I just think it's going to be too difficult for him to just have to make all the plays and be the one guy, especially when I think the focus of this offense should be Ronnie Rivers. And I think everything should run through him.
Oh, yeah.
And everything should run off the play action. But we'll see what they do again. Kwame Jones, look for him to have a big game. He is the key to this game. If he gets to the quarterback, I think it'll settle down our offense early.
For sure.
And if they can stay settled and they can stay sound, they'll get a W. That's all we got for this week, guys. And we're looking forward to a Thursday night game. Probably do a couple pregame shows if you guys want to tune back in for that. And you guys have a good night. Go Dogs. Let's get a W. Have a good night, guys.
Quit hitting people in tunnels. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't hit people in tunnels if you're in the bands.
Quit it.
But wait, there's more.
I'm Ben Burnside, joined by my co-host,
Jesse Allison.
Yes, Jesse Allison, the stat man we got here. And I'll tell you what we got. We got my phone, and we have some picks to make in the Mountain West. What do we have here? Week 2 of the Mountain West. Bring it on, baby.
Mountain West picks for you Dogs fans.
Woo! Go Dogs. And as well as some interesting-looking games for the other teams as well. So let's take a look-see and see what we have here. Where do we start? Oh, yes. I know who we start with. Our boys. Fresno
Dogs.
State against Colorado State.
Colorado State Lambs.
Oh, the Lambs. Lambs are going to be... We're going to eat some lamb meat this week, hopefully.
Eat some kebabs.
Kebabs, yes. I enjoy those. We will have... Who are you picking for this game, Jeff?
State. I've always State.
Oh, yes. I think we got it this week.
State.
Woo!
Go Dogs.
I think Kwame Brown is going to smash the
Kwame Jones.
Kwame Jones. Jeez.
We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it ironed out.
Kwame Jones, he tackled me earlier, so I'm...
You're a little dazed. You're a little dazed.
Head loose here.
Kwame, if you see this, don't kill him, please.
Please
I
don't
need
kill
him.
me. I'm on.
Don't kill him.
You don't see this, but it's a tear, okay? So please stop.
Are you saying you have a teardrop? You done time?
Just one teardrop. One teardrop. Kwame Jones is so tough, he'd make a tear tattoo actually a real tear. That's how tough he is. From another person, not him.
From another person. You make a tear tattoo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next game we have here. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors taking on the Wyoming Cowboys. Ooh, I don't know any two schools that have more in common than these two.
Wyoming, they're coming off a real tough loss. Lost in overtime to Nevada last week. I'm taking Wyoming in this one. I'm taking the Cowboys. They're a tough team. Hawaii's coming off a good win at Fresno State, but Fresno State's obviously a team that's going through transition, head coach to quarterback. Wyoming doesn't really have that issue. I see Wyoming rolling this one pretty easy at home.
I was just joking about the two states. They have nothing in common. But I will take Wyoming as well. They are not in transition like the Hawaii team, as we can tell. Next up, we have New Mexico taking on San Jose State. A change in location due to coronavirus. New Mexico in a new location this week. So a lot of new stuff here.
Corona, Mexico.
Corona, Mexico. Taking on none of that. San Jose State at their hometown. Who do you got for this one, Jess?
Ooh, San Jose State eked out a defensive battle to Air Force. We haven't seen New Mexico play yet this year. I'm never that impressed by the Lobos, though. I'm going to go Spartans on this one. I say San Jose State takes it.
I will as well, just purely on momentum. I wonder what the mental capacity is like for the New Mexico players right now, having to deal with all this stuff. I never heard of a game that got canceled because the area of where they're playing the game is so bad with coronavirus. Not the team itself, but the entire town is bad. I've never heard of that. San Jose State, I think, will get the win. Next up, we have an interesting game here. Boise State against the Air Force. Interesting matchup. Oh, boy, this could be a very nasty blowout. Who do you have here, Jess?
I'm going to start calling this pick my shoe-in pick, Jess's shellacking of the week. My shellacking of the week goes to Air Force because they are going to get shellacked in the mouth by Boise State. Their sophomore quarterback, he's a good kid. Hank Braumeister, something Junior. German. Hank. We'll just call him Hank. We'll call him Hank the Bronco. He's gonna roll over the Chair Force this week, and he's gonna make them look pretty bad.
Boy, they are going to be in autopilot because they are going to get smashed by this team. They won't know what it is. I
like the pilot joke. That's a good one.
It will be on coach very quickly. Boise State, I believe, will get the win. Next up, we have a rivalry game here going on here. The first game, I believe, in Raiders Stadium with fans in it. The Nevada Wolfpack
That's right.
taking on the UNLV Rebels.
Yeah.
An interesting match.
Makes me a little bit upset that the Raiders aren't the first ones to have fans in their stadium. It's the UNLV running Rebels. But I am going to take Nevada, who, again, won a close game against Wyoming, had to fight through some adversity to get that win. UNLV got shellacked by San Diego State last week. They were the shellacking of the week last week. So I'm going to take the Wolfpack here over the Rebels.
Nevada always seems to be a dangerous team in this division, and I think they will set an example for that. I will take Nevada, where we had some Clovis West players go there. Kendall Brock, Chad Speck. We're from Clovis West, representing
C-Dub.
C-Dub. Okay. Nevada. No. Well, okay. All right. Next game we have here, and I believe this is the last one of the week.
Yep.
We have San Diego State, speaking of, taking on Utah State. And, boy, this doesn't look pretty easy.
No, I think San Diego State, I think the Aztecs roll over the Aggies in this one. They look really sound this year. They always have a good running attack every year, it seems, and they're more the same this year. I think San Diego just rolls over the Aggies. No issues.
No issues here, except for Utah State. All right, there you have it with our game picks. A very interesting week, I must say, and an exciting second week, catapulting from our opening week in the Mountain West. And dare I say, I am intrigued to see what will happen. Got Boise State. I don't know. We don't know, folks.
I hate Boise State.
I
hate Boise State.
Hate them. Okay.
That seem a little unbiased, but obviously we're not. Yeah, guys, if you need any Mountain West news, come here. Get it from your two favorite garage guys. And if you're ever in San Francisco, California, stop at Hockey Haven Bar. It is located at 3625 Balboa Street, and tell them that the Garage Guys sent you. Woo! Thank you guys very much. Go Dogs. Go Mountain West. Have a good night.